Hi, I'm Bob Saxton with American Mountain Research, and today I want to give you a brief demonstration on some of our electronic circuit breakers. The first one I would like to talk about is our CB100, which is a control unit that connects up to three different types of vacuum contactors: a 300 amp contactor, a 450 amp contactor, and a 600 amp contactor. Those are used in place of a molded case circuit breaker. The small size of this particular unit gives it advantages over larger contactors, and with the addition of the vacuum contactor and the life of a vacuum contactor as compared to a molded case circuit breaker gives you more extended life of that particular unit. Several advantages to this particular unit gives you indicator lights which are displayed on this unit which fault took you out. If, for example, if you had a phase imbalance, this would light up and tell you one of your phases is out of balance. Or if you had a unit fault, if this particular unit failed for whatever reason, then it would indicate that as well. You have two different buttons on this unit. Green is to close it and red is to turn it off. And make sure that if you do turn it off, that it has a twist button on here to activate versus just unlocking it so you can hit the green button to close it. It also has a ground fault adjustment and also has a magnetic trip adjustment on this particular unit. The second unit in our CB family of products is the CB200. It has a special application for a customer in the western part of the United States, and he wanted some different advantages to this one over the CB100, but it's very similar in makeup. You also have your overcurrent, unit fault, all the fault indication lights here on the front that would trip the unit would be displayed. Also, it has your close button, your open button, your magnetic trip, and your ground fault trip. Any fault that is displayed can be reset from this particular button. The one advantage to this unit is it uses only one contactor, and that is the 300 amp vacuum contactor. It can be built in a horizontal unit or a vertical unit by changing the faceplate and turning the unit around. This is another piece to our CB family, which is the CB Pro. We designed this in the late 90s, early 2000, and have MSHA acceptance on this particular unit as well as we do with the CB100, CB1000, and CB200. One of the unique features about this unit is that it uses the similar contactors we use for our other units: the 300 amp contactor, the 450 amp contactor, and a 600 amp contactor. Where the other units had LEDs to show you which fault took you out, this one has a screen that will display what took you out on a fault. Whether it be ground fault, whether it be overcurrent, phase imbalance, it will show you what particular fault took you out and record that and date and timestamp that particular fault. If you do have a fault, it will show you over here that it's open and will display the fault. If it's closed, it will be showed closed. If you have an alarm or a warning, we can use this to, as we close this, we can set that close time for anywhere from 0 seconds to 15 seconds. There's a three-way switch on this particular device whereby you can put it in program mode and make changes to this particular unit. You can also put it in run mode. It will run. If you change it from run to program, the operation of the unit will still be running, and if you want to close that unit, you can just turn it to off or open that unit. It has similar buttons as the CB100 and CB1000, where your green button is to close and your red button is to open it. just by pressing it. One of the advantages, or the big advantages to this particular unit and all the CB families, is that any miner that goes up to this particular unit and wants to close it, he's only exposed to 24 volts on this front part of the faceplate. Where on a circuit breaker, motor case circuit breaker, you're exposed to whatever's behind that breaker, which could create a flash or burn particular to a miner. This is AMR's family of CB products, as we call it, the circuit breakers, which use a vacuum contactor. In 1987, AMR went out and designed this particular unit with a 13-year time before it was approved by MSHA or accepted by MSHA. Since that time, we've sold over 1,000 of these units and have them placed in the coal mining fields throughout the United States. The big advantage of these units versus the motor case circuit breaker is the vacuum contactor and the control unit, which can give you the information about what tripped you and why it was tripped and the value of that particular trip, especially if you have a ground fault. These are all safety products designed by American Mine Research.